Reports from the council. Councilman Otten.
Yeah, good evening. I just wanted to state, and didn't get an opportunity last time, thank Bud and Brian for their service to the council and the city, and then also wanted to thank everybody that came out and voted in their trust and confidence in myself to serve the city. And a couple of things. One, I got a note about them looking at widening 270 from 518 to 96. There's some plans out there you can go look at. And then the other thing is National Safety Council is in June. It's National Safety Month. So the motto is no one gets hurt. And the first week starts with emergency preparedness. Next week is wellness, and then third week is falls, and then the fourth week is driving. So if you have a chance, go take a look at their website at nsc.org. That's all I have. Thanks, Kurt.
Councilwoman Lyons.
So Bayou Animal has canceled their meetings for this month. Clemcy is working on a budget, and we should have something next month.
When does that meet? Next week?
Okay, it's anywhere between the 21st and 24th.
Oh, it's not like a set night? Oh,
they appear not to hear what you're saying, Al.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right, that's all you got.
That's all I got.
Councilwoman Terrell.
Nothing to report.
Okay, I've got a couple of things. The good news, we received a check from FEMA for $77,000 for Hurricane Harvey, and that's the first, and I don't know, we may have that much more coming.
Mayor, that is a partial payment.
I know it's partial, but
I spoke to the state this afternoon. The rest of the payment should be coming in the next couple of weeks.
okay. But we'll be talking about that later in the agenda. 77. We didn't have a lot, of damage. Last month I recognized all the high school graduates, which we had a bumper crop 12 or 14, I think, altogether. But there's one of them I want to recognize especially. Tegan Foley has received an appointment to the Naval Academy at Annapolis. So that's the city administrator search is ongoing. We've got about another 2 weeks of accepting applications. So far received 18 applications, and most of them are people that are qualified. There's a few that have been kicked out. I don't know the exact number. Next week, Chief Cook and I will be meeting with Chief Kidd, who's the head of the Texas Department of Emergency Management, and people from the governor's office to talk about getting ready for hurricanes for this year. Looking forward. It's a meeting with Galveston and Brazoria counties, with the county judges, the mayors, and the emergency management coordinators. New website project is starting. We had one meeting, sort of a pre-kickoff, and the kickoff is in the next couple of weeks, and Amanda is going to head that up. But we'll be putting together a brand new website. It'll take about 6 months. And just remind, the hurricane season has started, so there's a lot of resources out there. Look at them and get yourself ready. Staff reports, Police Department, Chief Cook.
Stats for the month of May: Police Department officers were dispatched to and self-initiated a total of 3,158 calls of service, conducted 2,339 business checks, 115 checks to residents' homes on vacation watch, and 85 welfare checks to the city pool occupants and lifeguards. 447 total traffic contacts this day, with 306 citations issued and 346 violations written. 101 written warnings was also issued. We made a total of 35 arrests. That's all I have.
Building official Kevin Harrell.
Mayor and Council, since our last meeting of May 15th, I've issued 21 permits. Of those permits, we have a new house coming in at 514 Narcissus. There will be a demolition of a home at 312 Narcissus, but they will rebuild. Currently, I have a new panel and platform being constructed at 1020 Aspen. It is from the damage from Harvey. Chick-fil-A is going to start construction this coming week. They have a construction timeline of 5 weeks. A lot of that time will be done in the evening. Stewart Elementary is going to start their construction next week. On my code enforcement side, I have 9 cases this past 2 weeks. Of those 9 cases, 4 cases are still open. As for FEMA, as the mayor had quoted, we did get $77,000 as a partial payment. The majority of that payment was for culverts and ditches. I will be having a company start cleaning out those culverts and ditches starting this Monday, the 11th. And that's all I have.
Any public comments? Anybody? Okay, new business consisting of the consent agenda, the check register from May 10th, 2018 through May 30th, 2018, workshop minutes from May 30th, 2018. That should be should that be May 15th? April 30th, okay. Workshop minutes from May 15th, okay, there's 2 workshops. Okay. Council meeting minutes from May 15th, waterfront transfer WA10A013 from Paul Boswell to Samuel Piver, and transfer of F142 from Debbie Darwin to Charlie Mazok. Need a motion.
I will make a motion that we approve consent agenda A through F.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor? Motion passed. Okay, council business. Discussion, possible action may be taken on the following items. Item A, approve Rodney Johnson as a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission. In your packet you have his information. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Rodney Johnson as a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Call a vote. All those in favor? Motion passed. Item B, C, D, and E are appointment of liaisons to committees and 1 outside board. And I was hoping we'd discuss those if you want to together, if somebody wants to change or not. Otherwise, we just go in order. But the first one is appoint a council liaison to the Landscape Beautification Committee due to a vacancy left by Brian Herner. And since everybody's not here, we could put this off till next time.
I say we table.
Have we had a motion to table that?
Motion to
B,
table.
C, D, and E?
No, just B. We're just going to do them one at a time.
Okay.
We need a second. We need to vote on tabling.
Yes, you do.
So I need a second to table.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Okay, we'll table item B. Item C, I would think we should table, appoint a liaison to the Galveston County. The proper name is the Galveston County Transportation District. I've been talking to some people down there and what it does and what we do, but out there again, it'd be good to wait till we have the whole council and talk about it. So we need a motion to table that, I guess.
Motion we table item 7C, appoint council liaison to Galveston County Transit Authority.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? All right, item D, appoint a liaison to Parks and Pool Committee. I think we can do that one. I would like somebody to make a motion to appoint Angie Terrell as the liaison to the,
I'll make a motion to appoint Angie Terrell to be the liaison for the Parks and Pool Committee.
need a second.
Do you have to second?
I'll second for discussion.
So we need, any discussion?
No, we're good.
Okay, all those in favor? The motion passed. Item E, appoint a liaison to the Waterfront Compliance Committee due to a vacancy left by Bud Solmonson. I'd like a motion to appoint Kurt Otten to that committee.
A second.
Well, you gotta make the motion.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Kurt Otten as the council liaison to the Waterfront Compliance Committee.
And I will second that motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Okay, that motion passed. Okay, item F, reappoint Amanda Fenwick as the director to the board of the Plaza 1006 Corporation. Her term expired with her term as city councilwoman, so she has to be reappointed, or we could appoint somebody else.
I'll make a motion to reappoint Amanda Fenwick as director of the board of Plaza 1006 Corporation.
I second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor? Okay, item G, appoint a director to the board of Plaza 1006 Corporation to fill the vacancy left by Bud Solmonson. So we need a motion to do that.
Do we need an emotion without
Huh?
suggesting somebody?
You gotta have a motion to appoint somebody.
Oh, I'll make a motion to appoint somebody to the board.
Well, you gotta name a name.
Oh, well, who do you want?
Well,
Kurt?
Kurt, I would say Kurt, but it's up to the council.
I motion for Kurt to be on Plaza 10.
Need a second.
I second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Kurt, is there any discussion?
No, I don't
You
want
wanna do
Okay.
it, do you? No discussion, all those in favor? Motion passed. Okay, item... Okay, on, item H, approve contract renewal with 3 Coast for IT support. That's in your packet. This is the IT company we've been using for a number of years, and this is the same contract we've had. It's a renewal. The only difference is on the monthly recurring fee, the base fee of $2,100, that went up $200. It was $1,900.
Okay, that makes.
Mayor and, council, I wasn't here the last time you did this contract. I do have some comments that I'd like to mention to you that I'd like changes in the contract. So if I can just tell you what those are, and you
Okay.
can decide if you would like to have those changes in the contract. On the first page, on the fees and payment schedule, there is a paragraph, which is the 5th paragraph, that talks about the invoices and late fees and charges. I would like to add the phrase "subject to the Texas Prompt Payment Act," meaning that there are limitations in the act as to what this entity has to pay, and the timing of late fees.
Okay.
On the page 6 of 11, the paragraph above number 10, engineering hours, there is a typographical error. It's a note, and it says, as an managed IT customer, any services not listed in this section 10, and it should say section 9.
Okay.
And then on page 9, in section 19, confidentiality, there is a paragraph, the very first paragraph, that talks about confidentiality and non-disclosure, and I'd like to add to the end of that sentence, at the end of that paragraph, subject to the Public Information Act.
Is that the first paragraph?
The first paragraph in
Subject
section
to-
19. Subject to the you can say Texas Public Information Act. The act controls what information can and cannot be released. Then in paragraph 20, the first paragraph talks about indemnification by the city of the business entity, and I would like to add to the end of that paragraph, to the extent allowed by law. And then on the same page, in paragraph 21, on non-solicitation of employees, this is one of these provisions that said you won't hire their employees and they won't hire yours for 2 years. But the penalty for that is $75,000, and I would strike that penalty sentence.
And so in effect, we would just agree that we don't do it.
Yes. But there wouldn't be any liquidated damages
Yeah.
if you did.
Okay.
Those are all of my comments.
All right, now, do we have a motion in a second?
Not
Oh,
yet.
What I'd like it is a motion to approve it with the changes noted. And then I'll go back
I'd like
to
to
them
make
again.
a motion to approve the,
I'll second.
with the changes.
Changes, yeah, changes. I thought she said she was.
Any other discussion?
No, I agree.
I just say we're very happy with them, right? Their technicians are very good, they always respond right away, and it's been good. Okay, no more discussion, we'll call a vote. All those in favor? Motion passed. Okay, items I and J we're not gonna deal with since we didn't have the workshop. And just for people's information, we weren't gonna do anything on these. They were on the, we're having a workshop. These are things that have been talked about. This was just to sort of get the ball rolling. It would be a long process to do this. No action would have been taken other than possibly referring it to the planning and zoning or asking the attorney to do something else. Among the city and city council for the past year. And this will require notices, public hearings, and all kinds of stuff. It's a long process. So, okay, item K, an ordinance adopting amendment number 3 to the general fund budget for the city of Clear Lake Shores for the fiscal year 2017-18, increasing the appropriation for Hurricane Harvey expenses and decreasing the appropriation for other contractual expenses in the rainy day fund. I don't know where my copy of that is. But what this is, after Hurricane Harvey, $150,000 was moved out of the rainy day fund and put in the general fund to deal with damages and expenses from Hurricane Harvey. We spent very little of that. At the time, when we adopted the new budget that started October 1st, that was put in the budget under rainy day fund as a expenditure. And this is basically house cleaning and bookkeeping, accounting wise. We have since, our accountant has, that's not the right way to do it, but anyway, we have an account set up, which is this 119,548 that's explicitly for Hurricane Harvey expenses. So we need to move money. That's where the money needs to be. That's where we're charging things to. And I put $75,000 in here, but I really think we may as well put the whole 150. We're not really going to spend it, or maybe some small amount. We're being refunded by FEMA for essentially everything we're going to do. We may have some little small amount left. We actually will have excess money, but we can't spend it because we might have to pay it back, so it'll sit in the bank for a few years till we figure that out. but this is just a bookkeeping thing. To move, it's in the budget in one place, we wanna move it to another part of the budget, that's all this is. And I'd rather, have to think about it, instead of $75,000, make that move the $150,000, the total thing from out of the rainy day fund to the Hurricane Harvey expense. But right now it's in the rainy day fund to be spent, but not on anything. And I hope that's confusing enough. So we
Mayor,
need
Mike, can I ask you, does that have to be specified in this, that you're changing it to 150, or?
No, we just change, we can vote on it and we'll change it.
Okay.
Just make, the motion would be to move the $150,000 from the rainy day fund to the Hurricane Harvey expense account.
Make a motion to move the $150,000 from the rainy day fund to the Hurricane Harvey expense fund on the budget 2017-2018.
Could you also, move to approve ordinance number 2018-07?
Yeah, okay.
And move to approve ordinance 2018-07, ordinance adopting amendment number 3 to the general fund budget for the city of Clear Lake Shores for the fiscal year 2017-2018. Increasing appropriation for Hurricane Harvey expenses and decreasing the appropriation for the other contractual expenses in the rainy day fund.
Okay, need a second.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion passed. Okay, item L is to approve an amount not to exceed $20,000 for culvert and ditch cleaning, and this is part of the Hurricane Harvey money. Kevin's been talking to contractors. There's 2 bids in here, and I don't really know why 2 were put in there. The one from Texas Drainage, they don't meet all the FEMA requirements. The Badger is one that we think will do a good job. They gave a daily rate. They say they're gonna do it real quick, and we wanna make sure they do as good a job as they can, so we'll keep them here to work. So that's why I wanted the extra money. And actually, I'd like to make that amount $25,000. That would give them basically 10 working days on a truck. FEMA has already given us, what, $46,000 toward ditch cleaning?
One payment was for $48,000, another payment was for $26,000.
Okay, so we've
on top of
got
that.
more than we can spend to pay for this. So we need a motion.
Mayor, Mike, and so all of this is daily, what they have to do each day, as they clean the ditches, right? All of
Yeah.
these items, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Where's that at?
No, I had a question on it. I can't remember where I wrote it down.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion for the 25K with discussion.
Yeah, we'll discuss it.
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion.
My primary question to Kevin is, in the scope of work from Badger, it clearly states that an estimated total of 50 culverts ranging in distance from 50 to 150 feet being fully clogged or partially clogged, and they predict 3 to 5 culverts per day. If you figure that out, that's actually 10 or 16 days. The price of the time and materials contract, which comes out to $5,200 basically a day, so that comes out to $52,000 if you do that many culverts, and so I'm confused.
Well, it depends on how many trucks they have.
but they're predicting in their scope of work, they're stating that they're only gonna do 3 to 5 culverts per day. So either their scope of work needs to match the 1 or 2 days that we're predicting, or this is gonna cost a lot of money.
In speaking with Badger and talking to him, the first day he's going to come out, which is June 11th, he's going to bring one truck, and he's going to, as you see in the bid, it's an estimate of how many ditches, culverts he can do in a day. I told him to bring out one truck, see what he could do in one day. If in that one day he exceeds that average, then I was going to have him bring in more trucks to expedite. And speaking with him about the ditches, this first bid is for the first list that George Jones created for the ditches damaged in Harvey. After going out with the FEMA inspectors and inspecting those ditches on his list, I had noticed there were several other ditches and culverts that were missed. A second list was created, and talking with the mayor, given the number of ditches and culverts that need to be cleaned out, we agreed that we would have the entire island cleaned out, because it hasn't been done since 2009. But to answer your question, the first truck is going to come out on June 11th, find out just how many ditches he can do and how many culverts he can do. At that point, we will make that decision on whether or not he will bring in more trucks. Talking with Badger, he could bring in as many trucks as we needed to could have it done in a week.
At the same cost?
At the same cost per truck.
So this is a per day price. This is a time and materials contract.
Right.
Correct.
The other one was per ditch,
Correct.
which is a better pricing.
But
Unfortunately,
he doesn't meet FEMA requirements.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
Texas Drainage could not provide a list of places to dispose of the dirt that FEMA would recognize, that would carry the proper permits for dumping the dirt. When I asked Texas Drainage to provide that list, he just basically walked away from the job, leaving Badger.
So if you sign a contract with Badger, can you go one day and cancel the contract?
Correct.
if
Well,
they
we
only
can
get-
sign it or do it it'd be not to exceed.
Right, but they
Only-
could end up doing $25,000 worth of not very many culverts.
Well, I think, talking with Kevin's confident they're gonna do it. Matter of fact, they've already said they don't plan to use the flusher truck. They don't think they'll need it. So that's $2,000 a day right there.
I don't have very high confidence in this. The second thing is it also noticed, it stated that they would clean the beginnings of the culverts going into the pipes, not the complete culvert.
Correct. In some cases, where the culverts come out, the outfall, it's collected dirt, which allows the drainage not to flow properly.
Right.
It's not necessarily the entire ditch. Now, there's some ditches that need to be completely cleaned out and revamped. But in some cases, it's just at the outflow, there's a massive amount of dirt that needs to be cleaned out, not
So-
the entire ditch.
So does this contract allow them to clean the other parts of the ditch too, or is that the plan?
That's correct.
'Cause
The
there's no
ditch-
line item for that.
I understand that. I went out with the owner of Badger. We drove around the island discussing all the ditches that need to be totally cleaned out, specifically one on East Shore at Ivy on the east side. It's at least half full of dirt that needs to be cleaned out. So that's one of the bigger problems, and it will not drain properly. But there are other ditches that need to be cleaned out as well. That price is per day. It's not a contract for the entire time, because we want to see how many ditches he can do. He told me that the truck that he's bringing in, the hydrovac truck, could do up to 40 to 50 foot of length of culvert. Now, granted, most of our culverts are not that long. We do have some that are over them, but he was very confident in cleaning them out properly.
So Kevin, am I understanding after day one, if his performance isn't as expected, for us to be within the 25,000 at the end of the job, we can walk away.
That
And
is correct.
are there other companies other than Texas Drainage that do conform to the FEMA?
There are other companies,
Okay.
unfortunately, they are out of the area, and they would be charging us for travel time,
Okay.
which would be much more expensive.
But we wouldn't get stuck if he's just
No, we are
way
not getting
beyond.
stuck.
Okay.
I
The
made
thing
that
is-
perfectly clear when I spoke to the owner today that he's to bring out one truck on the 11th, see what he can do. Then at that point, we would make an estimation of how long it would take to clean out all the ditches and culverts. And if it exceeded the amount, we would not have to go forward.
Okay.
You know, what I'm interested in is getting the ditches all cleaned out. FEMA has given us more money than we can spend doing this, and we can't spend the money for anything else.
Right,
So
but we
I
don't need
wanna
to
get it
spend the money
done.
foolishly either.
No, but, the attorneys point out there's a couple things in the contract we need to look at. So I don't know if we delay this, it'll be 2 weeks unless the council wants to just authorize a dollar amount, and then we'll get the contract straight.
And specifically, I'm concerned about some FEMA provisions, contract clauses that are required for FEMA reimbursable contracts that are not in this contract.
So basically just
Adding what
wording.
FEMA says has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just wording.
And
Okay.
there's a couple of typos, like for example, it says it'll be governed by the state of Indiana laws.
Oh,
We would want it to be the state of Texas laws.
but there's nothing in there other than changing from 20 to 25 that's substantive, that would affect the contract itself, other than the wording?
Other than word, yes.
Okay, understand.
Yeah.
So will you be going through the mayor to seek approval to continue?
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So do we need to do another?
No?
Wanna take a vote?
Well, you could amend the motion to approve it subject to revising the contract to meet the legal requirements.
Okay. Amend my motion to, make the changes to the contract of the said changes and not to exceed the 25K and be approved by the mayor for contract,
For commencing work.
for commencing.
Commencing work, yeah. And who seconded that?
I second.
Okay, any more discussion? Call a vote, all those in favor? Motion passed. Where's all my stuff? Okay, item, M. Ordinance 2018-08, ordinance of the City of Clear Lake Shores, Texas, amending Chapter 2, Administration, Article 3, City Officers, Division 2, Responsibilities and Duties of the City Administrator and Mayor of the City Code of Ordinances, providing a savings clause and providing a penalty as provided in Section 1-21 of the code. This is the revisions that we worked over in the workshop with Ron Cox at the last meeting, and that he went ahead and incorporated in his materials. We said we would come back today and formally adopt it, and this is basically exactly what he has, except I think there may be minor changes. This is written in an ordinance form, but it should be, it's, you know, the same thing. And the changes are marked in the, So we need a motion to,
I'll make a motion to accept, ordinance 2018-08 as written in the agenda.
need
I
a
will
second.
second it.
Okay, is there any discussion? Any discussion? We'll call a vote. All those in favor? Motion passed. Item N, Resolution 2018-07, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Clear Lake Shores, Galveston County, Texas, appointing a municipal court judge, that word was left out, of the City of Clear Lake Shores for a term of 2 years, providing for a severability clause, providing a repealing clause, and providing for an effective date. Our municipal court judge, Judge Cope, is retiring, moving to Colorado. He started doing it in January, and then he changed his mind. But anyway, he is recommended, and we're recommending Dick Gregg III to be our judge. I know Dick. Amanda knows Dick. He's been around. He's currently acts as a judge in Seabrook and LaPorte, Morgan's Point. He's been prosecutor in Webster, Nassau Bay, Kemah, Manville. He's been working in Dickinson as a prosecutor, but he is also, Dickinson is appointing him as their new judge. Judge Cope was the judge in Dickinson also. And that's important to us because we use the Dickinson City Jail. And so that's the judge's, we have municipal court once a month, which the judge presides. But during the month, he has to go to the jail on a routine basis, and he's there with Dickinson's prisoners. He's there every day because when somebody's arrested, they have to see a judge within 24 hours. So that's the biggest part of his job is going to the jail. We met with him last week, myself, Christie, Assistant Chief Donaldson. I think everyone's comfortable with him. So this would be effective July the 1st. Judge Cope is leaving effective the last day of the month.
What was his name again?
Dick Gregg III.
Dick Gregg?
It's on the resolution.
Okay.
Mayor Mike, can I ask a question, or is that, can I do that now? Okay.
Well, we need a motion before we discuss.
I motion we open resolution 2018-07, resolution of the City Council of the City of Clear Lake Shores to appoint a municipal judge for discussion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Just curious, I've researched him and I understand and everybody's comfortable, but how do we find him?
Judge Cope recommended him.
Okay.
That's really, and actually he's already an associate judge. We appointed him associate judge previously. So in case Judge Cope can't be here, he would do it. So
Okay.
he was already an associate judge.
Perfect.
For us. He hasn't done anything. He's actually come and observed court with Judge Cope, but he hasn't actually been the judge by himself. And I know him from a board I'm on, and he's on, and Amanda.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
And his firm is called Gregg and Gregg. You familiar with them?
Yes.
And it's him and his brother and his father.
Mm-hmm.
And his father is the city attorney for Kemah. And then they're city attorneys for several cities. And then they work his brother also works as a prosecutor and city attorney.
No, he sounded wonderful online. I just wondered how we got him.
We know him.
Okay.
But really Judge Cope recommended him, and the big thing is that Dickinson's gonna use him. That's why we,
Understood.
he recommended it to them, and they know him because he's been a prosecutor there.
Understood.
So that motion was to discuss. If we want to move, we got to make a motion to approve the resolution.
motion to approve the resolution 2018-07 as stated in the agenda.
Okay. Any, I need a second.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion?
No.
All those in favor? Motion passed. Agenda. Now, we will, move into executive session pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Section 551, pertaining to Open Meetings Act, Section 551.072, deliberations regarding real property for purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, if deliberation in open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the position of the governmental body in negotiations with a third person. So we'll go upstairs to that, and we don't expect to take any kind of action when we get finished, so you don't wanna stay.